Let's call the October meeting of the Town of Newbury Human Resources Board together. First order of business is to approve the minutes of prior meetings. We have 2 sets of minutes to approve. Diane, as always, thank you in advance for getting them to the board. The first minutes we'll address are the minutes of the regularly scheduled HR board meeting on Monday, September the 23rd. And folks had an opportunity to read through those minutes.
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
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 Any discussion of the minutes?
No.
Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Second set of minutes is the subcommittee meeting also held on September 23rd, subcommittee meeting for the purposes of classifying new and changed positions. Has everyone had an opportunity to read those minutes?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve?
Approved?
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, take a vote. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Oh, I should also mention before we go any further that we do have a quorum today, although we're missing 2 members. Lynn is out of town, and Patty had an unexpected medical situation come up with a family member that she had to attend to, and so she was hoping to join us today, but it looks like she may not. But again, we are legal with a quorum here. Thank you all. Diane, let me turn to you. Any employee issues that you're aware of?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay, not heard from Chief Fisher. We'll assume that's the case in PD as well. Personnel actions and job vacancies. I know that there have been some comings and goings.
Yes.
Diane, if you'd like to address that.
Just looking back at last meeting's minutes. So we have hired a assistant town planner. In the last minutes, I had said that we had put an offer out to a candidate. The assistant town planner actually started today. His name is Daniel LaRoe. So he comes to us from Lynn. I think he worked in Salem. So he is a welcome addition. We have hired an assistant town administrator to replace David Fields. She starts November 4th. Excited about her. She's coming from the Rowley Police Department, but also has a lot of extensive experience in administrative supportive roles with many communities. So I think she's going to be a great fit. Met with her last week, onboarded her, and had some time to spend with her. So she starts November 4th to replace David. We have, in my last meeting minutes, I say that we have a new full-time firefighter, Michael Nealon, who started on September 22nd. Unfortunately, on September 26th, he decided it was not a fit, so has resigned. So we now have a full-time firefighter position that's sort of it's been posted, and Chief Evans is taking this time to fill that role again. So I think he just hadn't thought it through and decided at the end of the week it was not a fit, so he has moved on. We also had the resignation.
I'm curious, was it more that he thought it wasn't a fit, or that he had reconsidered his reasons for coming on board in the first place?
Yeah, I think that the latter is
Okay.
more appropriately stated.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he just hadn't given, I think at the end of the week, he had thought again about his decision.
Okay.
It wasn't that it wasn't a fit here in the town.
Important distinction there.
Yes. We have had a resignation of a patrolman, so I don't want to speak for Patty, but we probably do have a posting open for a full-time patrolman in the police department. And then I say in my last minutes that we have hired a library associate youth services librarian. She started on October 3rd, and on October 18th accepted a full-time position with the Rowley Library. So I question, if you know that you're in the running, but I guess if you don't know for sure that you're being offered the job, I think, so anyway, we now have an opening for a part-time youth services librarian. And the last change was that since we last met, our shellfish constable resigned, and we have hired the part-time shellfish constable from the town of Ipswich. and he seems to be a great fit. But John Lucy Senior had previously held that position, and I think he had done it to transition us from Paul Thistlewood when Paul Thistlewood left as the Shellfish Constable. So I think he's just moving on, has resigned, and we were able to coordinate with the town of Ipswich to use their Shellfish Constable. So he's now filling both roles for both communities.
So it'll be a split, part-time job and.
Yeah, we're not doing it as a, we're not doing it as a hire where he's working both jobs, basically. It's not that we've coordinated with them where we're, like a partnership, that's the word that I'm looking for. We do it with our animal control officer.
I know what you mean, yeah.
I can't think of the word.
Yeah, no, can I, but
Yeah.
okay.
So we have hired him, he's working for us part-time, he's working for Ipswich part-time. Comes with a lot of experience, so he hit the ground running, I think a couple of weeks ago. I've met him.
And will he be giving us as many hours as John Lucy had been?
Yes.
Or? Oh, good,
I
okay.
believe it's around the same.
Okay, great.
And he's currently, okay, Ipswich Animal Officer.
Yep. Robert Campo,
Not an animal officer, shellfish.
Shellfish.
Shellfish,
Yeah.
yeah.
Robert Campo. So that is it.
That's enough.
And we are, I mean, I say this every time, but I mean, things hopefully are starting to settle down. I think, again, I don't want to speak for Patty, but she has a patrolman, the fire position, and really just the youth services librarian. And then hopefully we will be fully staffed, which is now the kiss of death because I've said it.
Well, we've talked about this for many months, that there is, just as is the case in corporate industry, within the municipal community, there's lots of movement.
Yeah.
And there are gonna be times that you end up, at the top of that funnel, whether it's being able to poach or, poach maybe not be the right choice of words, but be able to entice.
Proselytize.
Yeah, to entice somebody to come from a neighboring community, and we end up on the plus side of that equation. And unfortunately, there are gonna be those times when we end up on the minus of that equation, when folks recognize the quality of our staff.
And social
Come after
media,
them, so.
social media has probably opened up opportunities on the quiet. And folks are, as they're signing on the dotted line with you, that have 4 conversations going on social media as to other positions, and perhaps using this position as leverage with
Well,
others.
also, I think maybe, accepting the position, recognizing that you've got several other things out in the field waiting, not knowing if those are gonna come through, sometimes you make the best decision. Case in point is the assistant town administrator that we had previously. I don't know if he was working, actively, he said he wasn't, but to find another position, but he ended up taking a position with the state 4 months after he started with us, so.
I had the briefest conversation with him out in the front hall one day, and very quiet, very introspective fellow.
Yeah.
I had a broad sense that this was a bridge, and unfortunately that there's a lack of personal ethic to use a job position as a bridge to another shop. In other words, let me find employment while the months drift by where I really wish to go.
Yeah, he stated that he wasn't actively looking, and it was 4 months, and unfortunately he had been solicited and he wasn't expecting it, and that can be true. I have no reason not to trust that that was the case, but a few of these other ones,
Yeah, the point is, if you look at each one of these comings and goings individually, makes sense, can't question motivation.
Yeah.
Problem is, when you look at them as a collective, it's our turn in the barrel, and we've talked about that before. We can go months, sometimes years, without any movement to speak of, other than perhaps an occasional resignation or a retirement.
yeah.
And then you're gonna run into those cycles where it seems like every time you turn around, there's some movement. So
Yeah.
there's typically no rhyme or reason to it. I would be concerned if it was in a particular department, if there was a history of constant turnover. If folks' reasons for leaving were eye-opening, for lack of a better term, but I don't believe that's the case here.
No, and it's
So-
not like, I mean, we had one, I think in the accounting position where she decided to go and take another accounting position, but a lot of these are, they're not lateral moves, they're not, you know, advancement moves, they're
Right.
just different moves.
Right.
So, or personal, you know,
Yeah.
for personal reasons,
Yeah.
but,
Okay.
so that's all I have to report.
That's all. Thank you, Diane, appreciate that. Questions or, no, okay. Workplace ethics, discrimination issues, nothing that has come to my attention, I assume that's the case with you as well, thank you. Safety issues, again, everything seems to be in place, no new protocols that I'm aware of,
Nope.
okay. Other business, as I mentioned in my note in scheduling this meeting, the hope, or I should say the expectation is that by the date of our November meeting, which as of now is Monday, the 25th of November, the Monday just prior to Thanksgiving, which everyone seems to be able to make, the expectation is that by then Tracy will have spent enough time with the vendor that has been chosen for our compensation survey that we'll be able to advance two basically. Number one, that the parameters will have been put in place regarding neighboring communities that we'll be researching, as well as confirming that all of our information is what it needs to be in terms of our classification grid and everything that wraps around classification. And then number two, the vendor will hopefully be able to join us for a presentation and a Q&A session at the beginning of that meeting. So more news to follow there, but just in anticipation, I would ask everyone to perhaps plan on a 90-minute meeting on Monday, the 25th, and we can plan accordingly. If it turns out that the vendor is unable to join us, then we can dial that back, but as of now, I think we should think about going for 90 minutes, and if that becomes burdensome for anyone, please let me know, and if that's the case, maybe we'll be able to start at 3:30 if folks are available, or, you know, do some sort of a workaround.
Yeah, and like, as I stated, I'll be in touch with them, because I've been funneling them
Right.
information that they've requested, so I'll see if they're available that date, confirm,
Okay,
and just sort of get an understanding of, you know, maybe timeframe, et cetera.
great.
But I'll do that tomorrow.
Thank you. And so in advance, what I would also ask is that Tracy Tracy and/or the vendor can provide for the HR board, perhaps, you know, a 1 or 2 page,
Just an abstract.
yeah,
Yeah.
basic, so that we can do our homework in advance, come prepared with relevant questions to ask and observations to make,
Okay.
all right? Anything else on the comp survey? Okay. Hopefully we'll be able to get that back on the front burner in November. Again, next meeting scheduled for Monday, the 25th, as of now, scheduled for 4 p.m. I will effort that well in advance to make sure everybody's available, and if for some reason not, again, we've all agreed that this is an important meeting, that it would be appropriate to have all hands on deck. I would not want any members of the board to miss it. It's as important a meeting as we'll have had for a while, so. Okay.
Most important.
Yep, so I'll reach out tomorrow and start to get some information, so that
Thank you.
if we need to reschedule
Right.
that for a week later,
Yep.
or what have you,
Right.
I'll get you that.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
I
Tony?
have it's more of a comment, I think, than anything else, but going back to our discussions we've had about, you know, this situation, it's been months and months, basically. And-
We're talking about the comp survey now, or something else?
Yeah, no, the survey.
Survey, okay.
And I am still philosophically taken aback by the situation as presented to us, that, you know, this Massachusetts, what's the name of that outfit? In
Oh, Massachusetts
Mass
Municipal
Municipal,
Association.
okay, MMA, I guess,
Yep.
that they in essence said, oh, don't call us. You know, and then And so they really have no manner of, I mean, this is not public knowledge, or every town and city, you know, is protected by some sort of secrecy, of hirings, et cetera. And I'm still confused by that. Because the people who got this job, they're going to go to, how do they do it? Do they go to these equitable or equal towns,
Yes.
I should say, and then talk with the town, bypassing that Mass Municipal?
The Mass Municipal Association was doing it as a, sort of as a courtesy, if you will.
Yeah.
It's not a required, that's not their sole function. They had created a system where individual towns and communities could report in. Obviously, it wasn't mandatory, but requesting the information that individual towns submitted to Mass Municipal Association. They gathered all the data, and you could go in and pull down from the system what you needed. It's not a bypassing of the Mass Municipal Association. A lot of communities, even when the Mass Municipal Association data was available, would contract with an independent contractor to go out and find. Because keep in mind, it's not just salary driven, it's benefits, it's vacation, it's sick accruals, it's all these other things. So it's not that they're failing to provide a service that they're obligated to do. It was just, I think we talked about the fact that maybe municipalities weren't reporting in, maybe they didn't have the staff to continue with the program. They're kind of two separate independent things. Salaries are public knowledge. I mean, they're not openthebooks.com requests every year a listing of everybody here and what they make. So it's not that it's in secret or it's private, it's public knowledge, you can request it. I think the nuance is that this was a system where people, you know, towns and communities, Mass Municipal Association was basically at the whim of individual communities participating. And I think over time, either people got busy, I know myself, you know, we did it every year. Tracy believed it was important so that we could reap what we put in. But other communities with the staff and things the way that they're running, and then with COVID, I don't know if they just weren't able to do it and they just stopped doing it, but they're not circumventing that. It's a completely separate service with Mass Municipal Association.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I
Okay.
think it was provided to Massachusetts citizen towns as a courtesy, you know, as a goodie, if you will, from MMA. And we had heard for years that slowly but surely fewer and fewer towns were complying with their request for information. And it got to the point where over the past year or so, as Diane said, you know, it became very clear that fewer and fewer towns were participating in a voluntary sharing of information. As Diane said, it's all public, you know, publicly available information. It's not like they're trying to keep anything a secret or trying to, you know, keep competitors away from the data, because again, it's, you know, it's a request for information. You get it anytime you want.
But not the benefits. That seems to be the rub. No?
Well, yeah, each town offers different.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily, Mass Municipal Association didn't gather that information, it was strictly salary. They were never coordinating, you know, benefits and all of that. But like, I'll give you another example. So Mass Treasurers and Collectors Association, we have an organization that I belong to. Every year they send out a salary survey. And it's, this is the salary survey, so all the municipal treasurers in the state of Massachusetts and their staff, they request information, and then when they're done with it, they report it back to the treasurers and collectors. So I just got mine for this year, so I put in my staff, how many hours they work, what salaries they are, you know, and I believe it might ask for. So there's all different ways that communities are trying to do the same thing that we're doing, and sometimes they use vendors. And they were doing it even when Mass Municipal had salary data. It's just because it was basically, like you said, it was a courtesy. So.
And I think an outside vendor has the capacity to put all of this varied information together in a format which would help, in this case, the town of Newbury, understand in very clear, concise terms that when you factor in the compensation grid, when you factor in benefits, when you factor in, all the other pieces of the puzzle that make up a compensation package, that they can provide us with something very basic, but something very worthwhile that we can then use to our benefit going out into the marketplace to find quality folks. I think when MMA captures some of the stuff, it wasn't necessarily, all collated in a way that would benefit us. We'd still have to go to the different ends of the earth to find all this stuff out. And a vendor specializing in this stuff can provide a very concise, clear, clean, easy to use, I would say, set of data, which will then make it easier for us to decide what, if anything, we need to do.
They're also looking at, the vendor that we've hired, they're looking at our personnel policy that we worked so hard on. They're looking at our classification study. They're looking at basically a comprehensive compensation. They're not just comparing salaries across the board, which is really what MMA was doing. You'd put in, I want to see salaries for communities for this position at, for this, and you would just get a list. There was no other subjective data that went along with it. It was just strictly numbers. So I think this is more comprehensive also in the fact that it's taking a look at how we rate jobs.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Does that help you?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
A checklist of criterion that the vendor looks at, size of town, all the elements that go into the workplace. Do they look at inherent complexities in a particular village? Is there a master list from A to Z of those aspects that they examine each and every town, starting at town size and location?
That would be a great question. I mean, I think they're comparing us to regional towns because we all pretty much are similar, small communities. So that would be a great.
The other element would be also, when you use the word posting, and the chief is posting for a new patrol officer. Where's the mechanism to post all of the township jobs, from fire to police to administration? Is there one place that the universe out there looking to work for municipalities knows to go to?
So Mass Municipal Association has a job site. A lot of times those are posted there. If you're posting for a specific job that has an affiliated association, case in point, treasurer collector, they have jobs posted. So anybody that's looking for a treasurer collector position or has a job to post, it's posted within the, obviously you're gonna be looking on those job sites if you're looking in that specific role. I think there's also there's another, I think municipal, those are the two big ones. It's also on our website.
Right.
We post it right on our website.
Yeah, I was looking at that the other day.
I would assume, I haven't looked at it lately, but I would assume that every municipality has on the front page of their own website, or at least a link you can click to that talks about current opportunities, whether they be a volunteer, or paid positions. I think in this day and age, I'd be surprised if the town didn't have that on their website.
I think the association ones because most of the department heads or roles, or roles within a department. I know the accounting has an association, the library, there's an association for librarians that they post on. So I think that the website, as well as Mass Municipal, has a job site where pretty much most of the jobs are listed there as well.
Yeah. To answer your original question, John, I can't imagine that the vendor will come to us without exactly what you're talking about. Give me the list of 20 criteria that you've used to put this study together.
Yeah.
Not just population of town and, configuration of the government within that town, but these demographics and whatever complexities there may be. I'm sure that's going to be part of the package that the vendor will present to us on the 25th. At least I would hope so.
Okay, so I'll get you an update as soon as
Thank you.
possible about the date and timing of that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. John, Tony, any other thoughts or? No? Okay. All right, again, next meeting scheduled for Monday, the 25th at 4 PM. That's, it's in the books unless you hear otherwise. If it turns out that the vendor is unable to join us that afternoon, then we'll go to whatever Plan B looks like. Okay? And my guess is it would probably be maybe the week or so after as opposed to the week before. So if the vendor's not ready yet, then making it sooner is not gonna help matters any. So. Okay, any other new business to address?
No.
Diane, thank you for everything. Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion?
Second?
Second.
Any other discussion? Adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you all.